Your nervous system isn't broken. It's telling the story of what you've survived. Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining me here today. If you're new, I'm Amanda. Welcome to the channel where we are all about shattering the mental health stigma. If you haven't already, please make sure you make sweet, sweet love to that subscribe button. Give the bell a few kisses so you're not missing any of this content designed to help you with your mental health or help you help someone else. I know it's been a couple of weeks since I released a video, but I was celebrating the holidays and I might have just needed a little bit of a break after that influencer idiocracy reaction I did where I was checking out some of the different trends of how influencers were just straight up Grinch status ruining Christmas. So if you want a little bit of a late Christmas gift to yourself, make sure to check that out because I had a lot of WTF moments where my jaw was on the floor. So if you want a crazy reaction from me, make sure to check that video out. But today I'm going to be reacting to Unforgiven by Metallica. So I've done quite a few Metallica reactions here on the channel, including my really emotional Fade to Black reaction. I know a lot of you might have come in off of that or one of my other Metallica reactions. They're very popular here on my channel. I get requests for them all the time. I actually thought I'd already done Unforgiven because the title of it sounded familiar, but I looked here on the channel, I looked on my Patreon because exclusive reactions are one of the perks of my Patreon. I could not find it anywhere. I've never listened to Metallica outside of the channel except when I'm re-listening to a song I've already done here, and I had a song by Metallica that was the song between me and my ex way back in my teen years, many, many moons ago. So as far as I know, this is my first time hearing Unforgiven by Metallica. Let's go. I have to stop. I swear I don't cry to every Metallica video I ever listened to. This is hard because I have a 14-year-old, and this is kind of making me think of what if circumstances were different? What about those other kids out there like him? His will to live. They take away his will, and he's being broken down until there's nothing left, and that's really hard for me to see as a mom of a young boy. But the beginning, the new blood joins this earth, I think that really sets the tone right out the gate because it devalues life. It devalues his existence. So I feel like it's really minimizing it. I think the rest is practically a clinical portrait of how trauma is quietly built over time, that it doesn't always have to be a loud thing, it can be quietly built over time. But I think the song is tracing a boy's socialization through shame and punishment and forced conformity, showing how pain, oh my god, really becomes the primary teacher and self-erasure becomes survival strategy. And that, again, I don't know if you saw that I got goosebumps the further in this got. I don't know if that was apparent on camera, but I just started getting goosebumps more and more. I'm not gonna lie, I started getting anxiety for this little boy. I think that this is a tale of abuse where control shifts from external force of the person who is doling it out to an inner voice that suppresses thought and emotion and identity. And I just want to remind anyone that's listening to this that if the voice in your head is telling you that you're not good enough, that something's wrong with you, that your identity is somehow flawed, that you're just not what you should be. Somebody put that voice there. That's not you. Somebody put that voice there and it's wrong. I think the last lines about the vow unto his own mark the moment really that trauma turns into resolve. It's after prolonged control and humiliation, the boy forms an internal vow to reclaim that agency because that's all he has is his identity, is wanting to reclaim that. I think it reflects a shift from learned helplessness to kind of a protective defiance, where any bit of autonomy becomes a survival need, not a luxury. To a lot of people, that's a luxury, but it's becoming this survival need, right? And I think the self begins to harden in order to never be taken again. So in order to protect that part of the identity, he's really hardening, he's putting up these walls so that nobody can take that away. He's not letting people in, because if you let somebody in, then they can take away that part of your identity.
When I felt what I've known, never shine doing what I've shown, never be, never see, won't see what might have been. What I felt, what I've known, never shine doing what I've shown, never free, never me. So I dug the Unforgiven.
Oh, I think there's a lot of visual symbols and stuff here. There's the sands covering the clock, like time is running out. Obviously, he's feeling trapped. He's trying to escape. He's trying to get out of this hole. He's feeling like he's just stuck. He's trying to climb. He's trying to dig, trying everything he can to get out. And then you see him aging. You see he goes from that boy to it looks like an older man that's still in the same position, that's still feeling just as stuck. I feel like this reflects not only a life spent trying to please others, but the deepening belief that the world itself is hostile, that it's rigged against him, that there's years of control and interference that's just left him feeling blocked at every turn, left him feeling trapped. I think that's what that's trying to symbolize, as if his chances were stolen before he ever even had them. Like, he never had a chance. My God, as a mom, this is seriously killing me to say this and to know that this actually happens, that this is a real story for so many. I know there's probably a lot of you here watching this, experiencing this. I am so sorry that you did not get the love and support you deserved. I just want to take a break from the lyrics for a moment to say, anyone that's watching this feeling that it relates to them, you deserve love and protection and to be yourself, because you are valuable. I just wanted to say that. I think that the result of this control, this interference, this stripping of identity, it's not just bitterness. I think that's a big misconception, that it's just bitterness, but I don't think it's just bitterness. I think it's just pure exhaustion. I think it gets to a point where you're mentally and physically exhausted because there's this constant fight to reclaim life when it feels unwinnable. It feels like you're in a trap, a saw trap. You guys know I love Saw. You're in a saw trap that's just unbeatable. You can't get out of it. That's how it feels. That he's feeling like his value, his wisdom, it's being ignored. His worth is being ignored, and this led to emotional numbness, to regret, and to a quiet surrender. But not in peace per se, but in the grief of realizing too late in life that his life lived was never truly his own at all.
What I felt, what I've known, never shine doing what I've shown. Never be, never see, won't see what might have been. What I felt, what I've known, never shine doing what I've shown. Never free, never me. So I dub the unforgiven.
We're coming up for a guitar solo, aren't we? I sense it. I sense it. So I dug the unforgiven. Never free, never me. So I dug the unforgiven. You labeled me, I label you. So I dug the unforgiven. Never free, never me. So I dug the unforgiven. You labeled me, I label you. So I dug the unforgiven. Never free, never me. So I dug It's depressing. Oh, I don't know if my emotion is showing as much as I'm feeling it inside right now. I'm not trying to hold it back, but I know this is gonna sound kind of weird, but I wish my dad would have heard this song. So a lot of people ask me, "How have you never heard Metallica?" Well, because my parents never listened to Metallica. My friends didn't listen to it when I was younger. I didn't have anybody didn't introduce it to me, and I didn't really listen to this kind of stuff on my own. I was the '90s boy band person, and then I moved right into Linkin Park and just kind of skipped all the '80s and music and stuff, or the rock and the metal and whatnot. But I wish my dad would have had this song because he had a really rough childhood. And I think that it could have helped him feel validated and process some of that because I feel in many ways like he never got to have an identity. He never got to feel like his wisdom and value was shared or showed up or was apparent. I feel like he had kind of suppressed his identity at a very young age to protect himself, and then never truly connected with it, never truly leaned into it, never truly formed it at all. And then I don't know if you noticed, I was fiddling with this because it's a friendship bracelet my mom made, or my son made me. It says mom, his says Bryson, so we have BFF bracelets. He saw that I was feeling really sad for losing my friends this year. I lost my 3 closest childhood best friends, and he had made this for me. So the whole time I'm just sitting here holding this, like trying to feel connected to him, going, no, this isn't him. He has a great childhood. We love him very much. This isn't going to be him. He has an identity, a very strong identity. So I had to keep telling myself that through the song. I will say, at first I thought it was saying I took the Unforgiven. I had to glance over here at the lyrics to see that it says I dubbed the Unforgiven, because at first I was going, oh no, I don't like where this is going. I took the Unforgiven, but okay, I dubbed the Unforgiven. That changes things. I want to say I understand how this could be a theme song for so many. Hell, it might be my theme song, all right? I guess it's strangely good. I'd forgotten to touch on the chorus the first time it played before, as I was so struck by the rest of the song, because it really, really wants that part to stick with you long after listening. Mission accomplished, James. Mission accomplished. That's all I have to say. Mission a frickin' accomplished. I think that these lines capture the psychological cost of being chronically unseen, chronically misunderstood, chronically undervalued. I think that he's not just constrained by others' expectations. I think that he's trapped in a world that never let his true self surface. And like I said, I can't personally relate to that. I had a very supportive upbringing, but I could see it with my dad that he never was really allowed to have his true self. He was never really allowed to have a childhood. So he tried to embrace that and lean into that when he was older by, really getting very giddy when he got to have a birthday cake or something like that, because he never had that. But I think the repeated never free, never me, I think that reflects identity foreclosure, hopelessness. I thought that the you labeled me, I'll label you. At first, I thought this was kind of empowering. I'm going, okay, this is him, saying, well, if you do this to me, I'll do this right back. But I don't think, I thought that it was a final act of reclaiming power by narrating the harm after a lifetime of being defined by it. But oh no, no, no. I then had the horrifying realization that I think he's instead mirroring the damage, that it isn't empowering at all. He's just mirroring the damage. He's not rising above the wound. He's not healing from the wound. He is naming it because that is all he freaking has left. And I dubbed the Unforgiven. Like I said, at first I misunderstood that, but then once I realized that that's what they were saying, once I always have lyrics up, I learned my lesson after Lorna Shore, I always have lyrics here to reference. I think that I dubbed the Unforgiven is his way of asserting that he doesn't owe forgiveness. He doesn't owe anyone that forgiveness. He's choosing to leave the harm unresolved, not for revenge, but as an acknowledgement of how deeply it affected him. It's less about condemning others and more about protecting his sense of truth. It reminds me of a story, actually, I'd heard recently about this father who was abusive and absent to his daughter, and on his deathbed, he asked for forgiveness and she said no. She just straight up said, I'm not going to forgive you. And that was her way of keeping her power. That was her way of saying, no, I experienced this and this mattered. Now, I know that it's very cliche to say that forgiveness is about you, not about them, and it is important to try to work on that inside yourself, but you don't owe them that. You don't have to tell another person, oh yeah, I forgive you. You don't have to do that unless that is something that you feel is important to your journey. If you feel that holding on to that and saying, you know what, I'm going to work through forgiving the child part of myself, that's one thing. But you don't owe that other person forgiveness, despite what cliches say. But cliches aside, I just, forgiveness isn't a requirement, okay? It's a choice, and we aren't obligated to absolve those who've caused deep harm, like this girl's father that I was talking about. And sometimes holding on to that boundary is the only way to honor our own experience and truth and have some small piece of control, and it's okay. I just wanted to give anybody permission that's struggling with forgiveness or that just really truly doesn't want to forgive. That's okay. And I think that James was kind of saying the same thing here. I was really proud of myself for calling the guitar solo. It's building, it's building. I feel it. I know it. I've listened to Metallica now that I know where it's at. I was proud of myself for that. But it was a little hard to get through. I fortunately, unlike with Fade to Black was very personal. Some of the lines hit me personally. Fortunately, this just gave me a lot of anxiety thinking that there's little boys out there just like my son or little girls like my daughter. There's children out there that are just as beautiful and valuable as they are that aren't being told that don't have someone to love them, to guide them, to build them up. And that breaks my heart as a parent. I really encourage you that if that is your experience, know that this is a safe space. That's why I created this community, is as a safe space for people to come, to talk, to share. So I always say good, bad, and crazy. Make sure that you're sharing your mental health stories here in the comments because it can give further validation to these amazing artists, these amazing lyrics, these powerful stories. When we share those stories, that's how we shatter the mental health stigma, is by talking about it. And it can give us a place to start to process. So when you get it out of your head and onto paper, onto the screen, you know, it can really help you start to process that trauma and find your voice again. So it's very important that we're doing that. Thank you guys so much for being patient until I came back to Metallica. You know, I'll always come back to Metallica, always, always. So thank you guys very much. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up, share it. You never know who might need to see it. Maybe there's somebody out there like my dad who has not heard Metallica and could really use this validation, could really use this comfort knowing that they're not alone. And maybe I don't think it's ever too late to heal. So I don't think it's ever too late to start that journey, and maybe it will help someone who's been pinching this up for decades start to get through that and start to find their very beautiful identity. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you again real soon. Mwah!